LT, you can go ahead and begin.
All right, half a day. Good morning. It is Thursday, September 12th, and the time is 11:01 a.m. And the Interagency Council for Coordinating Homelessness Programs will come to order. Present are Robson Augustine from the Office of Homelessness Assistance and Poverty Prevention, Edith Pangelinan from the Guam Housing Corporation, Elizabeth Napoli from the Guam Housing and Urban Renewal Authority. From the Guam Homeless Coalition, we have Asia Ramos, and from Guam Behavioral Health and Wellness Center, we have Deputy Director Dr. James Coopernurse. We also have Patty Keir from Guam Housing Corporation and Kathy Titano from GHURA in attendance. We do expect other members to be logging on. First order of business is updates, and for that, we will turn to Robson Augustine from OHAPP. Rob?
Sure. Good morning. Thank you, Lieutenant Governor. So just for our OHAPP updates, we'll start with the first thing is the Anigua Apartments, the progress on that. So we're still, the contract has been awarded, and the work still has to start, but the contract has been awarded, and we are hoping for, completion of that in 4 to 6 months for the apartment building. From then we can start looking at utilizing that. For the bed at night in Tamuning, there was a September 6th deadline to hear from any architect and any architects on that. So there was a bid out put by GHURA, and unfortunately they did not receive any AE quals by then. So the next update on that, I guess, will just be another bid process to see if anyone submits their packets. So we will get updates on that as a new bid is put out.
So Rob,
Mm-hmm.
on that, I just checked with our A&E department. So because there were no responses to the request for qualifications, what A&E will do is they'll move forward with an invitation for bid on design and build this month. They're working on it already.
Great. Thank you for that. Okay, so moving forward with the TEFAP program, which is the Emergency Food Assistance Program. So we've been working with all the mayors, and our September distribution has started. We do have our forklift is not operational right now, so we are using DPWs, but we are working with them to get to stage all of the village commodities. So they should be going out soon, and also our nonprofit organizations. I am working on the state plan for that. We did target a end of fiscal year full transition from GDOE to OHAPP. So I'm still working on that, working on the state plan and all the other documents that I'll have to submit to USDA for a full transition of that program. But that is still going on, and I'm still target date will be for end of the month for that. And then final on OHAPP side, we have moved physically from the Bank of Hawaii building in Agana to the ITC building in Tamuning. So OHAPP and our the FEMA grant office, the Typhoon Mawar Disaster Relief Center, are both now located at ITC second floor, and we are on the FHP side on the end. We're right next door to the ERA office, the rental assistance office. So if anyone wants to come visit there, we are still getting our lines set up for communications. So we've been doing what we can with responding to emails we've been getting and responding to our current clients, but we should be up and running hopefully in the next couple weeks with our emails and everything. So yeah, feel free, anyone who needs the help, please feel free to contact us through the website, via email, via WhatsApp. Still, we're doing what we can to be responsive about that, but our doors are open on the second floor of ITC. And that is it for the OHAPP updates.
Thank you, Rob. We'll now turn to Asia.
Thank you, Lieutenant Governor. Hafaday to the Interagency Council. I'm Asia Ramos. I'm the COO of Western Pacific Islands and also the newly elected Guam Homeless Coalition Chair. Thank you for having me. The Guam Homeless Coalition has been working very hard to increase our public image, and we have provided 2 recent publications that I will turn to our Vice Chair, Rob, to give an update on.
Sure. So the first thing we did, one thing we did with the communications committee is trying to have a more visibility in the community. So one thing we did was to create a newsletter for the coalition, and that's going to keep it, the community apprised on what's happening with all of the GHC members. So the first newsletter was issued last month, and we're going to make it a quarterly letter. And so we are looking for anyone who wants to sign up for it. Please email the Homeless Coalition. I think we will be putting up a link on the website so that we can go directly to the Guam Homeless Coalition website and sign up for the newsletter there. So stay tuned for that. And then another thing that we're going to release, and we do have to press release this out also with the newsletter, but the Housing and Homelessness Summit Framework for 2024 was released. So that is available on the GHC website. You can download that, and that goes, shows for the first framework that we released, the 5-year action plan that we have for the coalition. And so that updates everything that has happened so far in the past 2 summits that have gone. And then people can see what the progress has been on all the goals that we set for the year. I think we've been going forward pretty well with all the different committees that we stood up in the last year. So we're making pretty good progress on those committees, on things we've been trying to do as far as internal improvements, and then also improvements on awareness campaigns in the community. So please feel free to visit the Guam Homeless Coalition website, download that. It's a PDF version there, and so just to stay updated on that. And then with that, we are planning, since November is being designated as Homeless Awareness Month, we're going to plan for our upcoming summit. So we haven't started that with the committee on planning for that, but that is coming up in November. The date for that has already been designated for Friday, November 22nd, I believe. So stay tuned on when that will be and where that will be. Yeah, so that's what I have for the coalition updates.
Thank you, Rob. I'd like to give an update on the consolidated application, which provides the COC funding for projects here on island that addresses permanent housing and homelessness support. The consolidated application is being worked on with the GHC members in partnership with GHURA. We are meeting every week to improve the effectiveness and efficiency of the process and to increase our scores as a collaborative applicant every week. So the due date on the NOFO is October 30th from the consolidated applicant. The local funding process and the bid out on the NOFO has actually closed. There was an extension on the deadline for renewal and new projects, which has now closed. So it will go to our review and ranking committee to look at the projects that our island will take on this year. The NOFO is a little different this year, and that is a 2-year round of funding, which is great because it gives a little more stability for our projects to launch and to have a good implementation phase. And the team has been working very hard to get data in place and to make the application as strong as it can be. And that's all we have for the Guam Homeless Coalition. Happy to take any questions.
Thank you, Asia. Just for the record, the following members have joined: Theresa Arriola from the Department of Public Health and Social Services, and also other officials: Stephanie Flores from the Clearinghouse, Mike Weekly from the Department of Youth Affairs, Melinda Sanchez from the Department of Administration, and Mayor Robert Hofmann, the Vice Chair. Certainly not the least. So at this point, we'll move. Melinda, are you reporting for Viki today?
Yes, sir, I am.
You're next.
Okay. Hello, Lieutenant Governor and Council. I'm Melinda Sanchez from the Emergency Rental Assistance Program, and Viki Lindlau is on leave, and so we'll be reporting our information and updates. So to date, a total of 2,577 applications have been received for our Cycle 6 within the program, and with an overall applicants process for ERA 2, we have 5,487 applicants. Out of that, 1,477 applicants were deemed eligible. And then through the program, we have also a majority of our applicants now are continuance applicants in the program. So these are applicants who have been processed through the program and are maintaining through the 18-month process. And we have 432 applicants in the continuance portion of the program. We've expended a total amount between ERA 1 and ERA 2 of $41 million. We anticipate that for direct services for the ERA program to end in June 2025, and the program itself will start to close out in September of 2025. So it's pretty condensed because we have majority of our applicants are continuance applicants. We've seen a bit of traffic come in for new applicants, but again, we're pandemic related, and majority of our applicants have either found themselves still needing assistance and impact from the pandemic. Okay.
Thank you, Mindy. Do you have, in terms of the applicants that are not being determined eligible, right? Because pretty much new applicants that, what you're saying is they're likely not pandemic related? What kind of, do you have any data or anything that you can share about that group, the quantity and stuff?
Not particular. We find that most of them in the beginning, when they're deemed pre-eligible and they've gone through the process, and then when they become non-eligible within a period because they're not submitting the proper documentation. So they're deemed pre-eligible, and then they've either not got the proper documentation either from their employer or a previous to attest to their pandemic-related impact, or they don't submit it within the time frame, and then they end up falling off, and then they think they can't come back, and then they call again, and then they realize, oh my gosh, I still can apply. And so we try to continuously reach out to them, but a lot of them get stuck in the supporting document process in order to qualify themselves for the program. We do have specific data as to who doesn't qualify but a lot of them don't realize the specifics to what pandemic related means. So when we try to provide the extra information to them, then they realize, it doesn't just apply to them directly. We also try to inform them that there's an indirect component to those members in their household who are also helping out during the time. And if they were affected and made them unable to meet their needs, they also can help them qualify for the program.
Thank you. All right, we did pass 3 items. It was OHAPP, the Homeless Coalition, and DOA. Are there any questions so far in the meeting from any of the members? If not, we'll move on to the subcommittees. I know that both of the housing agencies have some updates, or at least may have some comments. So I'll go ahead and open it up to either Liz or Edith.
Well, I think the only update from GHURA, besides what I mentioned about the Arriola Street drop-in shelter, is I know the soup kitchen is one of the things that you may want to know what the latest is on it. And the scope of work was completed for it at the end of June, and we've been going through, this month we're going through procurement planning, which should be ready by next week, hopefully, to put out an IFB for the work that needs to be done at the soup kitchen. So that's the only thing I think I have, unless Kathy has anything else.
And just for everybody's knowledge, we are GHURA, because of the Archdiocese bankruptcy, the soup kitchen in Hagåtña was put on sale, and GHURA acquired the property with the intent of continuing to offer and support the facility for the soup kitchen for the same purpose, correct?
That's
And as
correct,
a
Lieutenant Governor.
consequence of its acquisition, based on the federal standards, there will be upgrades to the soup kitchen building.
Yes, and then, when that's all done and it's ready, then that's when we'll have to put it out for the operations as well.
All right. Okay. Therese.
Hi, good morning, everybody. Liz, do we have plans when the soup kitchen does go into renovation? Where is that operation going to be temporarily? I mean, because it's pretty much daily and it's down the street of mine and I see it. So if there's going to be some renovation for however long, whether it's a week or a month or longer, I'm just curious, where are these folks going to be fed during that period of time? I think
Kathy. There's Kathy.
Go ahead, Kathy.
Hello all. Hello, Director Arriola. Currently the facility is continuing to operate. They're rather resilient. They whether they're inside or out, they are still making sure that they're connecting with the individuals who need it. As far as a location, in so much as the present folks are it's been status quo since, so we can have a conversation with them on that, because as my director stated, it is not certain who's going to be operating the facility after it's renovated, because there is interest in other groups that are looking into it. There's a process that we have to follow in order to ensure that we do full disclosure of who's going to be in operating in.
Yeah, I'm sure all that's going to come into play. I just want to know where is the soup kitchen going to operate daily while it's being renovated?
Mayor Hofmann.
Might I offer a suggestion where how about where the Hagåtña pool is, where Pokey Fry occupied that one area? That might be something good to explore, to offer and check. If the building.
I'll tell you what, there's a construction project about to occur over there at Hagåtña Pool. So Hagåtña Pool and that facility is about to be repaired, and it should have been already under repair, but there have been some delays on the A&E and incorporating design. So I would just say this, that obviously this is will be under sort of like the casework area, and maybe Mayor and Therese, you guys can speak with the different parties that be, along with Asia and Rob. There's a lot of different groups that provide nourishment out there, but I think that obviously in the future, there's going to have to be a closer coordination to ensure that people have the supports they need. What hasn't happened before is, prior to this, the TEFAP wasn't connected into the system. So obviously there are some commodities, available, but for and I would also say that the current operators, or the incumbent operators of the soup kitchen, want to maintain a mission as well, right? And if you heard from the Archbishop, this is a priority for him as well, in addition to all of the other different religious and community organizations. So I would just say, Therese and Mayor, if you can just tag team on this and kind of get full visibility, so we can make sure that we coordinate the community on the support that target population needs.
Sure. I serve on the.
Back to you, Liz.
I serve on the Archdiocese board, which actually oversees this kitchen.
Okay.
Horace is, I'm regular with them, so I agree, and thank you for bringing it up. So we'll work on that.
Okay, very good.
And I think maybe we'll have a side meeting, GHURA, Amy, we could have a side meeting with you folks, because depending on what the scope of work is, I mean, they've obviously been able to continue serving. And so depending on the scope of work, we can figure out whether or not, their operations will be affected. So we'll circle back on that and then let you know. But we'll have a meeting with Theresa and Mayor Hofmann regarding what the scope of work is and whether it's really going to affect what they're doing. Okay.
Okay. All right.
Thank you.
Anything else? Anything from Guam Housing Corporation at this time?
Thank you, LT and members. I just wanted to bring up, we're going to go out for this phase 2, which is for the renovations or more of our units at LADA. But I also need to bring up that when we get referrals from OHAPP, for example, for emergencies, I hope that they have been vetted where they can possibly remain with us if they can pay for the rental. We can only provide 30-day emergency rental free that is on us. But after that, I sure don't like to put people out on the streets, but hopefully that ERA can step up too and maybe assist together with OHAPP in getting some. We do have a few that were referred to us and that were challenged with them not paying, and we don't want to put them out because they have children, they have babies. And so that's the concern part is, do we put them out on the street or can we help them?
Of course we don't. So Rob, you need to probe into that, and maybe that's where you and Asia figure out which or what qualifying program, if any, they are, and then you do the casework on it.
Yes.
Okay. Thank you, Edith.
I thank you for that. I'm sorry that I have to bring it up, but
no, that's fine. That's the purpose of the meeting. All right.
Thank you.
Seeing no transportation rep here, how about on the casework side? Actually, Theresa, since you have now migrated into a new role, and I just wanted to give you an opportunity to maybe talk about what you're forecasting at public health, especially on access to services that play a big role in service providing and poverty prevention. So Theresa.
Thank you, Lieutenant Governor. Yeah, despite transportation not being here, one of the things that Public Health Medicaid Bureau, Division is looking at is, and we're already in discussion with our Medicaid advisors and consultants, is getting transportation reimbursable for Medicaid participants. So the Health and Human Service field recognizes that the social determinants of health, housing, transportation, those kinds of things are barriers to healthcare. And so Medicaid is very open, and I don't want to, is more liberal in that sense these days. And so we're definitely looking into a waiver to ensure that transportation to access to care is covered. How we do that, probably through an RFP process, getting a provider to take appointments and being kind of like their Uber in a sense, and then Medicaid will reimburse that provider. Currently, it is not in our state plan, and so we need to include it in the state plan for it to be covered. So we're in the process of that already. We have many amendments in the state plan coming down. Housing is another. Home care is another. Being able to provide elderly services in the home and getting that reimbursed, and also possibly covering familial care as something that Medicaid can cover. And so I guess, everything is purposeful. And so in the many years that we've been talking in this council, everything that we want to do, I'm throwing it to Medicaid. And so far it looks like Medicaid is very expansive and could cover it. We just never asked for it since. And so we're really in the process of doing a lot of transformative changes when it comes to the Medicaid population and our consumers.
Theresa, Medicaid providers, though, of course, would be wanting to understand and learn how they may be affected or their services may be supported and improved under your vision. So could you talk about Medicaid with respect to healthcare, direct health care and health providers, and what the vision is there?
Thank you, Lieutenant Governor. One of the big initiatives that we're doing in Medicaid, and it's going to be seen in, I would say, less than 6 months, thanks to this administration signing the law for leverage and reuse, is the ability to partner with existing CMS infrastructure contracts. And specifically, we are looking at partnering with the West Virginia for our automation of our eligibility and enrollment process. That's going to happen very quickly. When that happens quickly, what used to take 3 to 4 months is going to take less than an hour for somebody to know whether they're eligible or not. That is 40 years overdue. And when that happens, then that has a ripple effect for claims being processed quicker, so that providers have the cash flow, and we see less of the negative impact and public relations that public health will have, because we'll have very current data and people will be seen quicker. When automation comes in through the whole Medicaid process, claims will always also be automated. And so there will be a quicker return and payment to our providers. In addition to the automation of eligibility and enrollment, we're looking at waivers to include dental and to as well include optometry. We saw this in public health's free collaboration of IRT, that happened last month with the military. Something that was very moving to me was that over 300 kids got glasses in less than 24 hours. That was 300 kids that thought being blurry was normal. And so, as you know, if we can't see, that's a hindrance to education. And so we're looking at expanding our Medicaid state plan to include optometry, dentistry. We are looking at bringing on board very quickly a pharmacy benefit manager, which we're going to realize and opt in to the rebate program that is required by Medicaid, that some time ago public health opted out of, but I'm going to go back into it. And that's going to realize anywhere between $6 to $9 million. What does that mean? That means I'll have $6 to $9 million for Medicaid expansion coverage. That, for example, the COFA migrants who make Guam their home today, as you know, through the agreement with the United States and their Compact Impact Agreement, they are able to be part of the Medicaid program, but they have to be enrolled. And so in their enrollment, they're covered. How does that affect Guam and our healthcare system? Is most of these self-pay are those that the hospital is holding great accounts receivables from. And so as soon as we move people from non-insured self-pay to insured Medicaid pay, that's going to greatly reduce the liability that currently the hospital has. Just so much going on with the Medicaid field that is being that we're looking into, and we're very quickly looking into actually in the last yesterday I think was my 3rd month here. But you're going to see some very transformative changes in the Medicaid recipient coverage. That's going to help our providers get paid quicker so that they can make payroll, and the negative image of public health in the Medicaid program will be days old.
That's your goal. How about
That's my goal.
How about with regards to SNAP? Any improvements
With
you're looking at for SNAP?
So eligibility, yes. With eligibility and enrollment, it's all programs that public health administers that have an eligibility enrollment. So SNAP itself is going to be part of that automation. And we are, and what used to take 7 days is going to take, 1 hour. We're already doing a pilot program that has shown 45% increase in the last 2 months that I launched in the Northern Clinic. 45% increase, meaning same day service. All I needed to do is tweak the process and it worked. And that's without automation. That's just cleaning up the current process. So in 2 months, we've seen 45% increase of what used to take 7 days or 3 months to same day eligibility.
Now, Theresa, I understand that some of the required documentation from applicants
is no longer needed, and
yeah, that's based on your consultation with the federal program folks. And I say this because there usually is a scores of people lined up to get mayor's verification. So
correct.
Could you kind of talk about that?
Yep. And as Mayor Hofmann knows, that is not a required document unless there is those are exceptions to the rule. But the general person applying for SNAP no longer needs your mayor's verification. Actually, in going the first month I was here, things happen for a reason. I was part of SNAP folks FNS folks that managed the SNAP program was here doing a review. I sat in the post or the final day when they presented their preliminary findings. Not good, but I needed to assure them that I'm very familiar with process improvement and that they were going to see a greater change in the way we do business here. And that's why I implemented that SNAP, that pilot program in the North, which was SNAP also. SNAP was included. And so in the process of reviewing the SNAP program and the SNAP process, we came to realize that there were documents in addition to the mayor's verification that was not required. So that
so the goal
is
to make it more convenient and available to the eligible recipient and to respond urgently on their need for food support.
Yes, absolutely. The future for the automation expansion is to work with each mayor's office and actually have a kiosk in the mayor's office, being mindful that our population, that need SNAP or need Medicaid or need TANF or any financial assistance from public health, have transportation problems. So we're going to them. It's easier to walk to the mayor's office than it is to catch a ride to the 17 places that I live in, which is ridiculous, but that's a different story. So everything we're doing, we're trying to focus on being more consumer and client oriented and making it easier for those that need SNAP, Medicaid, any services are addressed closest to them. And that means getting into the villages closer to their homes. This is not a new concept nationally. Everything, including home care, is thought of as meeting your clients in where they're at. So you're going to see a lot more outreach, a lot more home visits from public health.
Great. Stephanie.
So Therese, the innovations that you're implementing is going to help with your fraud compliance,
Absolutely.
which then will mean you're going to be eligible for more dollars.
Yes, absolutely, Steph. I know we talked about that, and that's one of the things. You know, we're our own, unfortunately, worst enemy, and I'm trying to clean that up so that there is no limitation of the pots of money in the federal side that we can expand.
And by the way, can you be specific about, can you just describe, this is talking about the program supports to catch and ensure eligibility, that the proper recipients are confirmed and not cheating the system. That's what you mean, Stephanie?
Yes.
Yeah,
there is
absolutely. That's what that means. Yeah. That the streamlining the process means that they'll be able to verify eligibility quicker, which also means that they'll be able to either put people on the roll or take them off the roll more expeditiously so that we are in compliance, and then we can then show better numbers to USDA so that we get better increases in the amount of money that is available for Guam for food assistance.
Yes. And so I just want just a little bit more, because it's the whole fraud section is a little bit complicated. But one of the things that we have the option to do is to determine the entity that's going to oversee or guide us in the fraud component of our programs.
You're talking about fraud identification, right?
Fraud identification and the entity that can bring prosecution. So in the past, everybody thinks it's just the Attorney General's office. And yes, the Attorney General's office is a possibility, but it's not the only possibility. We are looking into the office of the public auditor as well. So that determination has yet to be made, but who can we partner with is not limited to just what we used to think.
All right. Well, be guided by the law and the missions of the organizations, right? Which is what I imagine. Mayor Hofmann?
Thank you. I have several things there. Well, first, I want to report that year to date, we've given 228 homeless verifications. Last year, we gave total year was 262. So it's actually less than what we're seeing. We're on track on that end. I did want to find out, did we discuss, I know we haven't had any of the shelter operators part of our groups. I think it's in CSS and stuff, but do we know how many are in the shelters right now? Do we know some of the data on that? Was that discussed before I got on, or do we have numbers?
That was not discussed. Let's see, Asia and Rob, do you have anything on that? And can you be specific? Are you talking about the funded shelters like Gumamami, Ali, all the different placement options that are either self-run by government, contracted out, or run by third parties?
Yes, all those, because none of the requests lately have been asked for verifications for sheltering. It's all mostly been for public health work or other school and stuff. So I'm just curious to see what the numbers are in the shelters. and if they're wait lists, because I know that I serve also on Gumamami board, and we were talking about, and there is a wait list for Gumamami, and I feel bad because, you know, we've always just had 10 consumers, for example, 5 in each home, and they want to expand, and I know there's families that could use that Gumamami assistance, so I'm just trying to figure out on what's the shelter capacity and what's the wait lists like right now on some of them. And it's because the holidays are coming up. So if there's needs for some of these shelters and there's families, then we can figure out a way to reach to them. That's one of them first.
Rob and Asia, can you go and do your thing? And go ahead, Rob.
Sure, we can find out. Normally we have our monthly Guam Homeless Coalition membership meetings, and we do have them run or, report their shelter numbers. So we have ours the third Wednesday of the month. So that's coming up. I can get those numbers to you, Mayor Hofmann, and see if we could just have that as a monthly report on our side too.
Just to see if there's availability, because I mean, sometimes there's families that are here, and if there is, then we can easily do referrals to some of those places that do probably have availabilities. So that would be helpful. The next one was on we just had that bad weather, and some of the homeless were asking, how do we get to the Maria Joa shelter? And I was like, oh man, that's a difficult thing to do. And so they're just asking maybe if checking with OCD or the Homeland, if someplace closer that they can kind of congregate in and be away from the wind and the rain, we can kind of keep that in mind on transportation issues to figure that out, or get GRTA to be able to take them to the shelter and then take them back on a way, because that was a discussion I had on Tuesday, Wednesday, and even this morning about it, about what can we do for that. And so I think we can just have that discussion on it. The next one is on for Theresa, if she's still on. I know that in talking with some of the seniors, some of them who end up within the last few months of their life, Theresa, they apply for homebound care or where they get visits from Division of Senior Citizens does case management, and then they can assign somebody to go to the house to assist and all these other things. I know that wait list is long, and if there's a way we can figure out addressing that wait list for what the seniors
so you're
have.
Talking about, Mayor, you're saying that there's a wait list from on a program.
You're frozen.
Division of Seniors that does home visitations for eligibility.
Yes, well, because if they end up they can no longer come to the congregate site and they start getting homebound meals, then they have their stroke or all these other things. They can get requests for assistance for home visitations. Sometimes it's once a week, sometimes it's 3 times a week, but that's not happening a lot anymore because they're so backlogged and there's not enough providers. I think there's something in between this that I'm not understanding. So, and a lot of them who ask for those things are already on the last few months of their life, that they're just trying to figure out, hey, can I get some assistance for this? So it's not long-term care on it, but sometimes these family members are, or these people living at home are trying to figure out some of their assistance they can, because
they might be transitioning into hospice also.
Wait,
right?
Mayor, are you talking about Meals for Wheels not given to new?
No, not meals, not congregate meals, but now there's home services that
Yes.
are, yeah, those home services there's a wait list that I understand.
I know, but if I mean, the problem is not having enough home care people.
Yes.
And we're recruiting as quickly as possible. Trust me, I pushed out more recruitments than they have in the last 9 months.
Is that just inside public health, or is this contracted to like private entities like HSP and all the other people who do the home visit?
Yeah, we're in the middle of a transition right now. And so provider HSP will be doing home care visits because that's what they do. But what I'm concerned and what I hear is that there are folks that are at the tail end of their life that need some immediate assistance that they've never had before. And those are always exceptions to the top of the list. So if I can if you can sidebar me on that, because with everything, there is an exception. The question is making sure that the exception is not the norm, and that
Okay.
it's truly an exception.
And it just because my immediate neighbor is an amputee now, senior citizen, lives alone. He does need the help, and all these,
Does he
we all
get
try to do it.
meals?
No, I told the son who lives in the States he should apply and do all these things here. But when applying, he was told there's a wait list, and so he goes, "Man, can you just watch Dad for a while?" And so the son comes
We
back.
can always expand the number of meals.
Yeah.
You don't think I'm going to find money for the meals? Of course I will.
Yeah, so I think you have to figure out maybe it's the processing over there at DSC.
Yeah,
That's what they're saying.
Mayor, can you WhatsApp me, please?
Sure,
Do you know if they applied? Do you know if they applied?
I know when he was discharged from the hospital, because he lives alone. He's a senior citizen, lives alone. He's in the late 70s. The son was here, and he went to apply and stuff. And then when he was asking about the homebound services, he was told there's a wait list and case management will get back to him and all these things.
Can you send me his name, please?
Sure.
Okay.
Will do. And then just the last one is we just did a free yard sale to all these nonprofits and organizations. We gave away a bunch of stuff to the foster homes, to the shelters and stuff like that, courtesy of all these big box stores that are on the island. So I want to thank publicly Macy's, ABC Store, Kmart, Laumart, and Ross, who really helped us gather all these things, and we were able to push it out to all these groups. So they got a whole bunch of stuff to include even Christmas decorations. So
Iguma Maasi was a recipient. Thank you very much, Mayor, for that.
Thank you.
All right, anybody else? All right, Rob, when is our next meeting?
Our next meeting will be December.
I think it should be November.
November 7th. November 14th.
All right, so our next meeting will be on November 7th. We'll look forward to the continued updates. And of course, we will continue to work collaboratively on multiple fronts. Thank you, everybody, for your hard work. And I guess my final closing announcement is that with the enactment of the new budget, there is additional resources focused on homelessness that have been given to the Department of Public Health. And the director will be very forward-thinking and progressive in ensuring that we utilize this resource to benefit our target population in a very good way. So we'll be very proactive in a collaboration between the OHAPP and public health. All right. Thank you very much. Have a good day.
Thank you.